Hey, hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Ahili Bhattacharya. So, in my last video, we wrapped up questions on vector subspaces, and of course, if you haven't watched that yet, link is in the description. Go check it out first. And today we are moving forward, and honestly, this is one of the most important topic in all of linear algebra. Okay, that is linear dependence and linear independence. By the end of this video, you will not only just memorize the definitions, you will actually feel why these concepts matter. Okay, and yes, we will solve five solid questions together. So stay till the end. Question five is especially really interesting. And let's go. See, as I am presenting an interactive slide which I made. Okay, so what am I presenting here? We will, like, before we jump into linear dependence and independence, let me just quickly recap the two theorems we touched on last time, because they set the stage. As you can see, theorem 1 is of intersection of subspaces. What does the theorem say? It says that the intersection of two subspaces S1 and S2, as you can see, S1 here is a subspace and S2 here is a subspace. All right, now, of a vector space V over a field F is again a vector subspace of V. This intersection is again a subspace of V. If you can see the pointer, I don't know if you can see it, but this intersection is a vector subspace of V again. Okay, like, think of it like this: S1 and S2 are two clubs inside the big club V. When they overlap, they still have a valid club. Okay, which is like beautiful. And number two is of the theorem union of subspace 1 and subspace 2. Now, see, but the union of two subspaces need not be a subspace. Okay. Now, there is a beautiful example for this question, and which I will tell you right away after I present the screen. That is, the example will go like this, which is very short. Okay. Like, we will consider S1 to be XYZ, which belongs to R3, and we will put a condition like X equals to Z equals to 0. All right, and we will also let S2 to be XYZ, which again belongs to R3, and we will put the condition to be Y is equals to Z equals to 0. Now, if we take alpha, which will be 0, 1, 0, because X and Z are 0, right? So Y is not 0. We'll consider alpha to be 0, 1, and 0, which belongs to S. And we'll take beta, which will be 1 comma 0 comma 0, because y and z is 0, right? So let us take beta to be 1 comma 0 comma 0, which belongs to s2. Now, if we do the addition, if we do alpha plus beta here, as you can see, if you do alpha plus beta, then what do you get? 1 comma 1 comma 0, which does not belong to s, nor s1, not s2, right? So S1 union S2 is not a subspace, and that is why there's a special theorem which is here. When the union works, when does union become a subspace? As you can see here, when does this work? When when U union W is a subspace if and only if when U is a proper subset of W or W is a proper subset of U, which basically means that one must contain the other. Okay, as you can see that S1 is completely inside S2. All right, then we can say that S1 union S2 is equals to S2, which is already a subspace. All right, now that was the basic recap for the subspace portion. Now we will come to the linear sum of subspaces, and before that I will also show the example. Okay, so just wait for a while that I change my screen. So hi, I'm back with my screen sharing. So yes, what I was saying, that we were talking about that example, right? So let me give this example. Let S1, which I was saying it out loud orally, right? Now I'm giving the next example. Okay, let S1 be XYZ, which belongs to R3, and we will give the condition that X equals to Z equals to 0. X equals to Z equals to 0, and S2 is equals to X comma Y comma Z, which belongs to R3, where we will put the condition to be Y equals to Z equals to 0. Y equals to Z equals to 0. Okay, now let us see the solution. Now, how will we write it? Let us say first we'll consider the alpha. Okay, let alpha is equals to 0 comma 1 comma 0, which belongs to S1, and beta is equals to 1 comma 0 comma 0, which belongs to S2. All right, now we have considered two vectors alpha and beta, which we are taking from the subspaces 1 and subspace 2, right? Now see, if we do vector addition alpha plus beta, what do we get? 1 comma 1 comma 0, right? Now this does not belong to S1, right? Is this belonging to S1? No, as you can see. So this does not belong to S1. Now does this belong to S2? No. You can see the S2, right? Is S2 similar to alpha plus beta? No, right? So we will say that this does not belong to S2, right? Then we can say therefore alpha plus beta does not belong to the union of S1 and S2, right? Therefore we can say that alpha belongs to S1 union S2, and beta belongs to S1 union S2. But this does not satisfy. Alpha plus beta does not belong to S1 union S2. And hence, we can say S1 union S2 is not a vector subspace vector subspace of R3 over R, right? So this was a counter example for why when we are considering two union is need not be a subspace, right? Then we will come to the next topic, which is linear sum of two subspaces. All right, now before linear dependence, one more quick concept, which is the linear sum. So, what is the concept behind linear sum? What is the statement? The statement goes like, if capital U and capital W are two subspaces of V over field F, then the set U plus W, where U belongs to capital U and W belongs to capital W, is called the linear sum, which is written as U plus W. Okay, I'm writing the statement. See, the next concept is linear sum of two subspaces. Now, what does this say? As I have already said, if U and W, please write down the statement, because understanding and memorizing the statement is very important in linear algebra, because in questions come like, what do you mean by linear sum of subspaces? Okay, like in our mid-sem paper only, this question came linear. Define what is linear sum of subspaces. All right, if U and W are two subspaces of a vector space V over the field F, then the subset U plus W, where U belongs to capital U and W belongs to capital W, all right, is called a linear sum of subspaces U and W, which is denoted by U plus W. This is the notation of linear subspaces. All right, now if I give you a simple example, like we were considering U to be XYZ. Okay, let us say just an example, a small quick example. Let us say U to be X, Y, and Z, and let us say W to be 2, 4, and 9. Now, if I ask you what will be U plus W, then what do you write? You will write X plus 2, comma Y plus 4, comma Z plus 9, and that is it. That is it. That is just element wise addition. Okay, easy. You will write U plus W is equals to X plus 2, comma Y plus 4, comma Z plus 9. Now, this set is called the linear sum of subspaces. All right. Now we will come to the our main event, which is the linear dependence. Now, what is linear dependence? If I just make you understand before I write anything, see, it is basically a finite set of vectors are there. Okay. Suppose alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and it goes on till alpha n. From a vector space V over a field F is said to be linearly dependent if there exist scalars. Scalars are taken from the field, right? Scalars like C1, C2, C3 goes on till Cn, which is belonging to F. But there is an important phrase here, which is not all zero. Okay, not all zero. Such that it will be written like C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus C3 alpha 3, and it goes on till Cn alpha n will be equals to 0, which is the zero vector. But here the key phrase not all zero means that at least one scalar must be non-zero, right? That is the whole trick for linear dependence. And for linear independence, it is just the opposite, where the same set is linearly independent if the only solution to C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus C3 alpha 3, and it goes on till Cn alpha n is equals to 0, where C1 is equals to C2 is equals to C3 is equals to, and goes on till is equals to Cn will be equals to 0, which basically means that all scalars must be 0. Now, if you think of it like intuitively, basically linearly dependent vectors are redundant. One of them can be built from the others, and linearly independent vectors all bring something new to the table. Okay, so this is the basic thing, basic definition of linearly dependent and independent vectors, and that is the intuition behind it. Now, let me write it. What is linear dependence? Linear dependence. Now, this is a very important definition. Please write it and try to understand this concept as much as possible. Okay, so yes, let me write it. What is the definition of linear dependence? Suppose we will consider a finite set of vectors first, a finite set of vectors. Let us say alpha 1, alpha 2, and goes on till alpha n of a vector space V over a field F, of a vector space V over a field F is said to be linearly dependent in V if there exists scalars. Now, what are we considering the scalar? C1, C2, C3 goes on till Cn, right? So let me write it. C1, C2, comma C3 goes on till Cn, which belongs to F, which is the field, and not all zero. This is the highlight of the definition. Okay, not all zero. This is the main difference. This is just the difference between linearly dependent and independent. Okay, so not all zero, I'm sorry, such that C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 goes on till Cn alpha n is equals to theta, where theta is the zero vector, right? Where theta is the zero vector. Okay, now basically, see, what does this not all zero mean? Let me write it as a short note. Not all zero means at least one of the coefficients, at least one of the coefficient will be non-zero. Okay, will be non-zero. So this is just the definition of linear dependence. See, here first, what are we doing? Let us take another pen. Yes. See, first, what are we doing? We are considering a finite set of vectors. Finite set of vectors we have considered from the vector space V over the field F. This is a must statement which you need to write. Okay, and then you need to consider that there will be existing scalars. Scalars like C1, C2, C3 goes on till Cn, which belongs to the field, right? And we have to mention for linearly dependent that there the coefficient, which is the scalars, not all will be zero, right? Such that their linear sum C1, that is a linear combination of sum C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 goes on till Cn alpha n, will be theta, which is the zero vector, where theta is the zero vector. Now here I have mentioned what not all zero means. Not all zero means that at least one of the coefficient will be non-zero, at least one will be non-zero. Okay, so then only it will satisfy that not all zero, this part, right? Now we will come to linear independence. Linear independence is nothing but just the opposite of linear dependence. That just little difference which we had, right? Linear independence. Now, what is the definition of it? Let me write it down. See, first again, we will consider a finite set of vectors, a set of finite vectors, and we'll consider the finite vectors to be alpha 1, alpha 2 goes on till alpha n, right? Alpha 1, alpha 2 goes on till alpha n of a vector space V, of a vector space V over a field F is said to be linearly independent, linearly independent if there exist scalars, if there exist scalars, scalars like C1, C2, C3, and it will go on till Cn, right? So Cn, which belong to the field F, and where we will write it, where C1 C is equals to C2 is equals to goes on till Cn is equals to theta, where theta is 0. Okay, theta is the zero vector here. Now after this is our main event of today's video. Okay, we have understood the two theorems of subspaces, two very important theorems, and then we understood what is linear dependence and linear independence. Now there are many questions on linear dependent and independent. Okay, but today we will only solve five of them. All right, so let me begin with the first question. Yes, so I think the board is visible. Questions. Now see the first question. Let me write down the first question here. We need to prove that we will be considering vectors, okay, and we will be proving if this is linearly dependent or not. Okay, let me write it. Prove that 1 comma 2 and 6 comma 12 is linearly dependent. Now, for these questions to solve, first you need to do what? You need to consider two scalars, okay? We will let that C1 and C2 be two scalars. Then for linear dependence, we will write down the condition that C1 into the vector alpha 1, which is 1 comma 2, okay? And C2 into alpha 2, which is 6 comma 12, is linearly dependent. Then it will be is equals to the zero vector, right? Zero vector is 0 comma 0. So then we will get two equations and we will compute the two equations, and then I will tell you what to do. Okay, first let us do that. Let C1 and C2 be two scalars. First we will define that what is C1 and C2. All right, now C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 is equals to theta, according to the definition of linearly dependent vectors, right? So then we can write C1 into what was the given? Alpha 1, 1 comma 2 plus C2, 6 comma 12 will be equals to 0 comma 0. Now you will just expand the terms, okay? By expanding, you will get what? C1, 2C1 plus 6C2, 12C2 is equals to 0 comma 0. Now if you add it, what do you get? C1 plus 6C2 comma 2C1 plus 12C2 will be equals to 0 comma 0. So we have got the value, we have got the equation. Then we get two equations, right? What are the equations? Let me write that down too. Therefore, C1 plus 6C2 is equals to 0, and we can say 2C1 plus 12C2 is equals to 0, right? But see, from the first equation only we are getting what is the relation between C1 and C2, right? So if we say there is, this implies that C1 is equals to minus 6C2. Okay, now see, if we consider C2, if we consider this C2 to be K, then we can say that C1 is equals to minus 6K, right? Then let us write that. Yes, let C2 be K, where K is belonging to R, any number on the real line. Okay, so K belongs to R, any value. Therefore, we can say that C1 will be minus 6K. Here, see, minus 6K, right? If we consider C2 to be K. Now, next, if we write K is equals to 1, because it can be any real number, so we are just considering K is equals to 1, okay? We'll just verify it now that if this equation holds or not, okay? Let us see. If K is equals to 1, then C1 is equals to minus 6, right? Minus 6 into 1, minus 6, and C2 we have already considered to be K, which is equals to 1, right? So C1 is minus 6 and C2 is 1. Now see, we will put that, then check. Minus 6, 1 comma 2 plus 1, 6 comma 12. Now if we get this to be 0 comma 0, then only we can say that this property is proved, and hence we can say that this is linearly dependent, right? So let us see if this is, we are, if we are getting the exact answer. Minus 6 comma minus 12 plus 6 comma 12. Now if we add it, minus 6 plus 6 minus 12 plus 12, which is equals to 0 comma 0, right? And then we can write that hence it is proved, because it is, we are getting 0 comma 0, and so this set will be linearly dependent. So let me write it, hence this question is proved. So first question down on the on our video. So coming to the next question now. Okay, next question will be upon three vectors. Okay, we will take three vectors in R3, and then we need to prove if they are linearly dependent. Okay, let us see. Question number 2. Prove that 2 1 1 the first vector, 1 comma 2 comma 2 the second vector, then 1 comma 1 comma 1 the third vector is linearly dependent in R3. Okay, now this is our question. Let us write it. Let us try to solve. Let us take a blue pen. Okay, now the solution. First, as usual, we need to set up the scalars, right? Now we will set up C1, C2, C3 be three scalars, and then according to the definition, we will write that C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus C3 alpha 3 will be equals to theta, where theta is the zero vector. Then we will expand component wise, we'll put the vector, then we will expand component wise, we will get three equations, we will solve three equations, and then we will consider one of the scalar to be k, then we will write the relation of them, and then we will check that if it is, a linearly dependent vector or not. Okay, let us see, let us do it. First, let C1, C2, C3 be three scalars, and alpha 1 is given here 2 comma 1 comma 1, alpha 2 is 1 comma 2 comma 2, and alpha 3 is 1 comma 1 comma 1, right? And what is the condition given? Condition for it to be linearly dependent, for it to be linearly dependent, it must follow the condition C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 plus C3 alpha 3 is equals to theta, where theta is the zero vector, right? So now we are just putting C1, what is alpha 1? 2 comma 1 comma 1 plus C2 1 comma 2 comma 2 plus C3 1 comma 1 comma 1, okay, will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, now we will expand the expand component wise. Let's see what happens. 2C1 comma C1 comma C1 plus C2 comma 2C2 comma 2C2 plus C3 comma C3 comma C3 will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. All right, now see, if we again add do the addition, then we get what? 2C1. This is basically us getting three equations. What are the three equations? Let me write it directly. 2C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. C1 plus 2C2 plus C3 is equals to 0, and C1 plus again 2C2 plus again C3 is equals to 0. So this is our equation number 1, this is equation number 2, and this is equation number 3. Now see, like if you notice carefully, you will see that equation number 2 and equation number 3 are identical, and that's already a hint. Therefore we can just deal with these two equations and we will get our answer. Okay, let us see. You will do what now? Just take another pen. Let's take purple. Okay, yes. So yes, now if we do subtracting equation, oh wait a minute, subtracting equation 2 from 1, which is basically 2C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. This is the first equation. Second equation is C1 plus 2C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. And if you subtract it, then what do you get? 2C1 minus C1 is C1, and C2 minus 2C2 is minus C2, and C3 minus C3 is 0, so it will be 0. So we can get from here that C1 is equals to C2, right? Now we need another equation of C1 is, what is the relation between C1 and C2 with 3, okay? So now see, putting C1 is equals to C2 in equation 3. Now what was equation 3? C1 plus 2C2 plus C3 is equals to 0, right? So let us put that C2 plus 2C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. So 3C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. Therefore, C3 is equals to minus 3C2, right? So this is the relation between C1 and C2 with C3, right? So we can say let C1 is equals to C2 be K, and then C3 will be what? Minus 3K, right? It will be minus 3K. If we consider C2 to be K, then C3 will be minus 3K. Now see, where you will write it, where K belongs to any real number, any value. Then check, then check. If K is equals to 1, then we get C1 to be, C1 and C2 to be 1, and C3 to be minus 3 into 1, right? So which will be minus 3. So now we get the, now we have derived the scalars of the of this equation. Now if you check, which is therefore 1 into 2 comma 1 comma 1, that was the first part, right? Yes, 2 comma 1 comma 1, then 1 comma 2 comma 2, then 1 comma 1 comma 1. Okay, so let me write it again, plus 1 because C2 is again 1. So 1 into 1 comma 2 comma 2 and minus 3 1 comma 1 comma 1. Now we have to see that if this equation comes to be 0 comma 0 comma 0, if it does, then we can say that this is linearly dependent. Okay, so let us see, is equals to 2 comma 1 comma 1 plus 1 comma 2 comma 2 minus, or you can say plus minus 3 comma minus 3 comma minus 3. Okay, so now if you just add it, what do you get? 2 plus 1 minus 3, 1 plus 2 minus 3, 1 plus 2 minus 3, which is basically 0 comma 0 comma 0. And hence we can say that this is proved that this is a linearly dependent equation, independent vectors. Hence proved. All right. So second question is done of today's class. Now we will move on to our third question. So yes, for third question, we will be proving not linearly dependent, but of linearly independent. Okay. So yes, let us see how to prove linearly independent vectors. Question number 3. Okay, this is a deep ink. Yes, this is better. So question number 3 is prove that prove that 1 comma 1 comma 0, 0 comma 5 comma 0, and 0 comma 0 comma 7 is linearly independent. Now for this question, see, for this question also we will prove about linearly independent, right? Now for independence we show the only solution that c1 alpha 1 plus c2 alpha 2 plus c3 alpha 3 is 0 comma 0 comma 0, where we will show that c1 is equals to c2 is equals to c3, which is equals to 0, because all the scalars will be 0, right? So that is all we need to do. And if here we can see that this solution exists, that c1 c2 c3 is equals to 0 exists, then we can say that this will be linearly independent vectors, right? So that is all. Let us see how to prove. I'm sorry. Yes, so let us see how to prove this. Same way only, just we will see the solution, the condition will be different. So let me see what happens. So first line will be, let C1, C2, C3 be three scalars. First we need to define the scalars, right? Three scalars. Alpha 1 given is 1 comma 1 comma 0. Alpha 2 given is 0 comma 5 comma 0. And alpha 3 given is 0 comma 0 comma 7. Okay, so we have been given the vectors. Now let us see, for this set, for this set for this set of vectors, for this set of vectors to be linearly independent, then it should satisfy then it should satisfy the condition of linearly independent vectors, right? So what is the condition? That is c1 alpha 1 plus c2 alpha 2 plus c3 alpha 3 is equals to theta, where C1 is equals to C2 is equals to C3 is equals to theta. Theta is what? 0 here. This is 0 vector. Okay. Now see, let us see if this holds or not. C1, what are the vectors? 1 comma 1 comma 0 plus C2 0 comma 5 comma 0 plus C3 0 comma 0 comma 7 is equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0, right? So this is given already. I'm sorry, I'm having itchiness here. So anyway, moving on to the question. See, this is what we need to solve, and let us see how to solve it. Okay, expand the terms. It will be c1 c1 comma 0 plus 0 5 c2 comma 0 plus 0 comma 0 comma 7c3 is equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, now if you just add the vectors, then what do you get? C1 and nothing else, because C1 plus 0 plus 0. Then comes C1 plus 5C2 plus 0. Then comes 0 plus 0 plus 7C3 will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. Then from here we can get three equations, right? So let us see what are the three equations we get. Therefore, C1 is equals to 0, C1 plus 5C2, 5C2 is equals to 0, and then 7C3 is equals to 0. Now as you can see, we can directly see that C1 is equals to 0 here, because it is already we got this. And from here 7C3, C3 will be equals to 0 by 7, which is again 0. Then C3 is again 0. Now see, here C1 is 0 already, as we have discovered. So 0 plus 5C2 will be 0. Then we can see that C2 is equals to again 0. Then we can say that all scalars are 0 here. From the from component wise, we have got that C1, we have got that C1 is equals to C2 is equals to C3 is equals to 0, right? So we can see that all the scalars are 0 here. So this gives us no choice. The only solution forces everything to be 0, hence linearly independent, and hence proved. All right, so we will just write it, hence proved. So, okay, wait a minute. So this is actually a beautiful set, right? Like notice they are like axis aligned vectors. They point in completely in different directions. So that is the geometric intuition for independence. Okay, if you sit down and think about it, then you will understand what I said. Okay, so three questions done of today's class. Now we will move on to our fourth question. Okay, so coming to the fourth question. Fourth question is about linearly dependent. Okay, let us see. Proof 231 213 1 comma 1 comma 1 P linearly dependent. Okay, dependent in R3. That is the full question. Yes. Now see, in question number 4, this is we are talking again about this linearly dependent, and we already know how to solve it by now. That first we need to define the scalar C1, C2, C3, and then we will say we will do what? For this to be linearly dependent equation, we need to have to satisfy an equation that is the linear combination, which is c1 alpha 1 plus c2 alpha 2 plus c3 alpha 3 is equals to theta, right? So let me write it down as now I think all of you have understood how to write it. Then also let me write it, c1 c2 and c3 belongs to f, and here alpha 1 is given to be 231, alpha 2 is 213. Oh, I'm sorry, 213, and alpha 3 is 1 comma 1 comma 1. Okay, so alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha 3 are given to you. Now for this set of vectors to be linearly dependent, linearly dependent, it should satisfy. If you write this much clearly now, then you are bound to get full marks. Okay, so yes, it should satisfy c1 alpha 1 plus c2 alpha 2 plus c3 alpha 3 is equals to theta, where theta is the zero vector, right? So here now you write it as given, c1 231 plus c2 213 plus c3 1 comma 1 comma 1 is equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. All right, now you will expand it term by term. Expand it. What do you get? 2c1 plus 3c1 comma c1 plus 2c2 comma c2 plus 3c2 plus c3 comma c3 comma c3 is equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. And now if you add it, what do you get? 2c1 plus 2c2 plus c3, comma 3c1 plus c2 plus c3, comma c1 plus 3c2 plus c3, okay, will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. So from here we can get three equations, right? So what are the equations we got? Write it down carefully. 2c1 plus 2c2 plus c3 is equals to 0. Therefore 3c1 plus c2 plus c3 is equals to again 0, and c1 plus 3c2 plus c3 is equals to 0. So these are the equations which we got. So write it down: equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. Now see, how do you approach this problem? In this problem, if you subtract equation 3 from 2 or from 1, then what do you get? If you subtract equation 3 from 1, let us see what we get. Okay. Yes, equation 3. Yeah, we will get 2c1 plus 2c2 plus c3 is equals to 0. c1 plus 3c2 plus c3 is equals to 0. And if you subtract it, what do you get? c1 and then minus c2, and then c3 and c3 is get cancelled, so it will be 0. So therefore you get c1 is equals to c2. So we have got a relation between c1 and c2. Now we will see, put c1 is equals to c2 in equation 2. If you put c1 equals to c2 in equation 2, then we will get a relation between c1, c2 and c3, right? So let us see, what do we get? Yes, so 3, wait a minute. So 3c1, what was that? 3c1 plus c2, right? So we will write c1 only. c1 plus c3 is equals to 0. Therefore 4c1 plus c3 is equals to 0. Therefore c3 is equals to minus 4c1, right? Now we will consider c1 is equals to c2 to be k, right? Let c1 is equals to c2 is equals to k, which belongs to r, any real number, any real number. Then c3 will be what? C3 will be minus 4 into k, right? So it will be minus 4k. All right. So c3 is equals to minus 4k. Now, if you consider k to be something, k to be 1 or k to be 2, anything, or just let k be k here only, then also if you do standardize it and see if you check that it comes to be 000 or not, then also you will see that it will come to be 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay. So for all the questions above, I have put k to be 1. Now I will just put k to be k only. Okay, I will not put k is equals to 1, and we'll see that if it comes or not. Okay, let us see just a different approach of this question, or else the idea is same only. Okay, so check k to be k into what is the alpha 1 231 2, yes, 231 213 231 plus k 213, and then minus 4k 1 comma 1 comma 1, and we will see if this comes to be 0 comma 0 comma 0 or not. Let us see. 2k comma 3k comma k plus 2k comma k comma 3k. Let us say plus 1, or not 1 only, right, minus 4k, minus 4k, and minus 4k. Okay, so next we will add it. Okay, so 2k plus 2k minus 4k, then comes 3k plus k minus 4k, then comes k plus 3k minus 4k, right? And this comes to be 0 comma 0 comma 0, right? 0 comma 0 comma 0, and hence we can say that this question is proved that this will be linearly dependent, right? So let me write it, hence proved. Okay, now four questions done for today's class, and one more only question left, and this question is again on linearly dependent vector. Okay, because of linearly independent, it is way more easier to prove. And for question number 5, or sorry, for linearly dependent questions, we need to check that if it is coming to be 0 comma 0 or not, right? 0 comma 0 comma 0 or anything, zero vector, if it is coming or not, then we need to check, right? So that is why I am taking questions on linearly dependent more, because that is a little bit tougher than linearly independent to prove. Okay, so yes, coming to question number 5 now. Question number 5: prove 0 comma minus 1 comma 3, 3 comma 4 comma 3, 1 comma 1 comma 2 is linearly dependent in R3. Okay, now we will do it the same way. Now, just by not wasting any more time, I am going to tell you that we will consider three scalars, right? Let C1, C2, C3, let me write it directly, belongs to F. That means that these are the scalars taken from the field, right? So taken from the field, and we have been given alpha 1 is equals to 0 comma minus 1 comma 3, and alpha 2 is equals to 3 comma 4 comma 3, and alpha 3 is equals to 1 comma 1 comma 2. Okay, now let us see, for this vector, for this set of vectors, for this set of vectors to be linearly dependent, then it must satisfy, then it must satisfy here C1 alpha 1, as we know already the condition, C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2, this is 2, plus C3 alpha 3 is equals to theta, where theta is the zero vector, right? Now I'm not mentioning that theta is a zero vector again and again, so just understand that this will be a theta. But in the answer sheet, please write that where theta is a zero vector. Okay, I'm not writing here again, because you know this is the last question and you already know how to write it. So yes, therefore, okay, my pen also stopped working. Okay, I'm facing a little trouble here now. Okay, now, okay. So C1, alpha 1, what is alpha 1? 0 comma minus 1 comma 3, plus C2, 3 comma 4 comma 3, plus C3, 1 comma 1 comma 2 will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, now you have to expand this term wise. Let me do it for you. 0 comma minus C1 comma 3C1 plus 3C2 comma 4C2 comma 3C2 plus C3 comma C3 comma 2C3 will be equals to 0 comma 0 comma 0, right? And for now you already know how to add the vectors, so I'm directly writing the equations. Okay, like how do you write the equation? 0 plus 3C2 plus C3 is equals to 0. Just write it, boom. So yes, what are the equations? It will be 3C2 plus C3 is equals to 0, and then again minus C1 plus 4C2 plus C3 is equals to 0, and then the last equation 3C1 plus 3C2 plus 2C3 is equals to 0. Name the equations to be 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now from equation 1 we can directly see that it will be C3 will be equals to minus 3C2, right? So from equation 1 we can directly see, from equation 1 we get, you can write it here only, we get C3, okay, we get C3 is equals to minus 3C2. All right, now if you put the value of C3 in equation number 2, then what do you get? Putting the value C3 is equals to minus 3C2 in equation number 2. What is equation number 2? So minus C1 plus 4C2 minus 3C2 is equals to 0, right? So next will be minus C1 plus C2 is equals to 0, Therefore we can say that C1 will be equals to C2. All right, so we have got the equation, the relation between C1 and C2, and also the relation between C1, C2 and C3, right? So now we will consider nothing but C1 and C2 to be K. Okay, my pen is giving me a little bit trouble now. Yes, let C1 is equals to C2. I'm sorry. Is the board visible? This just went over. Okay, coming to the question. Okay, so let C1 is equals to C2 to be K, which belongs to R, which means that any real number, then C3 will be what? C3 is given what did we derive? C3 is equals to minus 3C2. And what is C2? C2 is K, so it will be minus 3K. So let me write it. C3 is equals to minus 3K. Okay. Now, if you check it the same way, if you do not have to consider K to be 1, just do the calculation. Okay. If you do the calculation, you will see it will be check. Let me take a different color because, last question, giving the honor to the last question. So, yes, check K. K first vector is 0, minus 1, 3. 0, minus 1 and 3 plus K. Next vector is, where is the vector? Yes, 3 comma 4 comma 3, and next is 1 comma 1 comma 2. So 3 comma 4 comma 3 minus 3K, 1 comma 1 comma 2. Okay, so we will see that if it comes to be 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, let us see. If it comes 0 comma minus K comma 3K plus 3K plus 4K comma, it will be comma. Okay, 3K comma 4K comma 3K plus minus 3K minus 3K minus 6K minus 6K. Now just add the vectors, add the elements. 0 plus 3K minus 3K, then comes minus K plus 4K minus 3K, then comes 3K plus 3K minus 6K. Now, as you can see that all of these sums up to be 0, right? So we will say 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, and hence we can say this is proved. Hence this is proved. So we have done all the 5 questions which we were about to do for today's class. From where did we start? Okay, we did so many things today. We did so many things today, as I can see. Okay, this is previous. Yes, from here we started. So from here we started from the subspace, the two theorems of subspaces, right? Like that's a wrap for today. And yes, we covered all these. And yes, do not forget my interactive slide which I made, and that is for the subspace union or intersection theorems. And then we studied the linear sum. See, linear sum of two subspaces, then we studied, and then we came to linear dependence. We understood what is the definition of linear dependence, and we understood what is the definition of linear independence then, and what is the difference between them. And then we did the questions, we did the 5 solid questions, and I am very much sure that by now you will be understanding linear dependence and independence very easily. And yes, basically the pattern in every question is the same. Okay, like you have to set up that C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 and goes on till like Cn alpha n is equals to 0. They need to find the scalars. If non-trivial solution exists, then it will be dependent. If only zero solution exists, then it will be independent. And of course, in the next video we will continue with more questions, including the R4 problem, and which basically has 4 vectors and 4 equations, which will be very, very interesting. And yes, if this video helped you, please like this video. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment if you have any doubts. I reply to every comment. So yes, see you in the next one, and take care. Bye bye.